Hi, this is Lawrence Fleckenbill. You are listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson welcoming you back to TV Confidential, radio talk show about television. And this week is a radio talk show about Loretta Swit. Loretta Swit, the actress known around the world as Major Margaret Houlihan on MASH. Loretta Swit passed away Friday, May 30th at the age of 87. Loretta visited our program 3 times in the course of the last 8 years. We will replay each of those conversations as part of our program this week, beginning with an interview that originally aired in January 17th, shortly after the release of SwitHeart, the watercolor artistry and animal activism of Loretta Swit, a collection of 64 full-color paintings and drawings of rescue animals and wildlife, all done by Loretta Swit herself, and all of which are accompanied by anecdotes and stories about Loretta's life, career, and work on behalf of animals. All proceeds from the sale of SwitHeart, the book, continue to be donated to the SwitHeart Animal Alliance, a nonprofit organization that Loretta founded as part of her endless campaign to end animal suffering and cruelty. For more on SwitHeart, the book, or the SwitHeart Animal Alliance, go to SwitHeart.org, SwitHeart.org. And if you go to SwitHeart.org, you will also find a collection of greeting cards featuring some of Loretta's animal drawings and animal paintings. These are also available, these greeting cards are also available at SwitHeart.org, and proceeds from the sale of the greeting cards and from the sale of the SwitHeart book will go to proceed to support animal rights, various animal rights or organizations. Again, this goes back to the confidential part. It was fun to learn that one of the things you did as a kid, you made your own greeting cards.
I did, just for locals, my friends, family. I just, it was a very personal sort of thing. And I did posters for school all the time, announcing dances, or I remember there was going to be a square dance, and I drew a pair doing a square dance, and the lettering was "swing your partner," and it was clever. It was, I don't know, I always loved doing things like that to inspire, to evoke, to say, "Come on and have fun with this." Now I have a little Yorkie who is barking in the background here, and she wants out. You want out, don't you, sweetie? You want to go out? All right, go ahead, sweetie. Go on. There, that's a little better on your ears, I'm sure.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I have no problem sharing the microphone with Yorkies.
Do you have animals? Do you have?
I was in 2 relationships where I had cats, and when the relationship ended, I lost custody of the cat. I still like cats, but the way my residence is set up, it's not cat friendly. So at this point, I've made the choice. But it's like you never stop being a cat person, and when you visit people who have cats pick up on that you're a cat person.
Well, I think that's probably true. I think all animals have a very keen instinct. Animals just, they know I love them. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about any kind of animals. I mean, I've worked with some pretty interesting creatures, and there's just a vibe I think you put out that I talk about in the book. I think they just, by instinct, know that I love them, and I do. I've never met an animal I didn't love.
Okay, we're talking about cats. Now, you have a few roosters in the book. You also have a few cats. One of the ones that jumped out at me is Isis. Isis and the watercolors.
She was mine. Isis was. There are lots of animals in the book, paintings that are not my animals. Isis was one of 2 white cats, 2 sisters, that I rescued. And when I rescued them, they looked like little white mice. They bloomed into these huge, gorgeous Turkish Angora creatures. And her sister, unhappily, and boy, that was a tough loss for me. She died when she was only 3. Most of my animals lived beyond what's known in the Guinness Book of Records. But Isis, her sister Bastet, the two Egyptian goddesses. Bastet died from a liver disease that she had, I think, from birth, and I had to deal with that and get stronger and rescue another cat. That's the way you do it. You just honor the departed by rescuing another cat.
Absolutely.
So Isis, my friends call that painting my Monet moment.
Well, it
has a very washed, very delicate.
Yes, in fact, so delicate, Loretta, I almost did not spot Isis. I had to look a couple of times. So you could have called it "Where's Isis?"
Okay. Listen, there's a painting in there that had to be renamed. It started out as Max because I did a painting from a photograph of Max. And this couple came into one of the art shows and said, "That's Joe." I said, well, it's actually Max, but if you want to call him Joe, that's okay with me, And they bought Joe. I had to rename their painting Joe, So if you bought a print, let's say, of Isis in the Rose Gardens, and you wanted to call it "Where's Isis?" it would be fine. It would be fine with me as long as the money for the print goes into SwitHeart Animal Alliance Foundation.
Absolutely. We're talking to Loretta Swit, the actress known around the world as Major Margaret Houlihan, on MASH. Our conversation with Loretta originally aired in January 2017. Loretta Swit passed away Friday, May 30th at the age of 87. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
One more item. If you're starting a company, particularly one that is in an emerging market, you know that averting any sort of legal dispute is crucial to your business plan. Our friends at Tectonic Law offer an array of services that can help you avoid and preempt future litigation while also developing and protecting your intellectual property and intangible assets. Tectonic Law serves the needs of a host of emerging industries throughout California and beyond, including industrial designers, beverage makers, artists, farmers, retail stores, health practitioners, wellness experts, cosmetics manufacturers, nonprofit organizations, innovators in sustainable practices, and libraries. Go to tectoniclaw.com to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
Hi, this is Lee Purcell, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Did you ever show me any kind of friendship? Ask my help with a personal problem? Include me in one of your little bull sessions? Can you imagine what it feels like to walk by this tent and hear you laughing and know I'm not welcome?
All proceeds from the sale of SwitHeart will be donated to Loretta's endless campaign to end animal suffering and cruelty. For more information, go to SwitHeart.com. Now, there's a 2-page spread. It's a photo spread, but it's you with there's one of you riding the nose of an elephant. There's one of you. There's a couple of you tigers, and there's one of you embracing an orangutan. So it's like you have a very proprietary relationship with wildlife.
Animals.
Yes.
Well, if you look at the picture with the orang, you'll see she's actually embracing me. Am I wrong?
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
Yes, it's very proprietary. They are mine. And there's that little story about my friend Mike Henry and Cheetah the chimp in the Tarzan movies. Primates, I love them, but they're unreliable. They're unpredictable. They could interpret something the wrong way. Like the trainer was really worried about the way I kept hugging this one chimpanzee.
Yeah.
He said, there's every chance that she would take that as an aggressive move. And that's true. And she could just fight back and slap me silly and, break a rib. But it never occurred to me. Again, I think it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me that she would misinterpret what I did and call it luck. I never had a problem with my animals.
Well, this goes back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier with cats. I mean, at least I would like to think, and I'm no expert on this, but just listening to you, I would like to think that somehow in the great ether, when you shared that moment with the orangutan, they knew. I mean, she knew instinctively that you were okay.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we were very close. We spent a lot of time together. But they're very strong. They're arboreal animals. Their strength from the waist up is they swing their body from tree to tree, and so they've developed this strength and this muscular torso that if they were to give you a meaningful hug, or if they just wanted to squeeze the life out of you because you annoyed them, I mean, they really could do damage. They're strong.
Yes.
But she was a love. She was just. I have a picture of us kissing. That's just. I know this sounds very weird, but anyway, I do love them, and I have. Doing the series, the Incredible Animals series, was just like one of the highlights of my life because it was hands-on with these incredible creatures. I mean, I was wrestling with these two little cheetahs. They were about 10 weeks old, two little brothers, and we're scrambling on the floor like they were domestic cats. Of course, I've worked with feral cats, and so I know how to protect myself.
Yeah.
Right? And so we just always had a great time.
We're talking to Loretta Swit, the actress known around the world as Major Margaret Houlihan on MASH. Loretta is also the co-author, along with Mies Hora, of SwitHeart, a collection of 64 full-color paintings and drawings, all done by Loretta Swit herself. And all proceeds from the sale of SwitHeart will be donated to Loretta's endless campaign to end animal suffering and cruelty. For more information, go to SwitHeart.com. You mentioned Mike Henry. Of course, Mike Henry, was one of the movie Tarzans. He also played Penobscot in one of the episodes of...
that is true. That is true. My original Donald Penobscot was played by Beeson Carroll. Lovely guy, lovely actor. We had a wonderful time the first time around. He was not available to do the comeback of Donald. And I suggested my friend Mike. Everybody thought it was a great idea. And so we got to work together.
Yeah.
Been friends for years, but not work together. And so it was great. It was great to have Mike around. Such a lovely man. Just lovely guy. And he told me that story about Cheetah when he was working in the Amazon doing Tarzan, and Cheetah decided to take a bite out of his face, so he literally got his chin separated from his face. It was hanging on his face, and he was holding it up to his face, just gushing blood. I mean, it was a terrible story, but Mike has this inbred sense of humor. Just everything to him is funny, and he makes a joke out of everything, and it's delightful.
We have a couple of email questions from listeners I'd like to ask you, Loretta. One is from Sue, listening to us in San Francisco. Sue is a registered nurse who works in the ICU unit. Ed, please tell Loretta that her portrayal of Margaret on MASH was an inspiration for me. I wanted to be a nurse just like Margaret, strong, brilliant, yet empathetic, and yet human, and who never hesitated to give someone a piece of her mind if she was pissed off. When she played Margaret, did Loretta base her portrayal on anyone in particular?
I am so thrilled with that letter. I'm thrilled beyond belief because it was always very, very important to me that Margaret was a positive role model. I think nursing is one of the noblest professions in the world. They are overworked, underpaid, certainly underappreciated, and they are remarkable women. The minute you said she works in ICU, already I was about to say, well, that woman has my respect. How difficult what she does every day, that she simply does, because that's what she does. I mean, they're remarkable women, and I needed, it was as important for me to be that, as close as I could, to be that, and show people, especially young women, and show them what the truth of that vocation is all about. It is, they are blessings in our lives, and I will talk about them always with the deepest respect and awe. So I'm thrilled to hear that she was inspired by that character, because my whole aim was to make her the best damn nurse in Korea, unquote. That was always my aim. And it wasn't always easy. You know, the producers and writers, we do comedy, yes, but it will never, I can be funny, it will never interfere with the kind of person and nurse I'm playing. And that works. You can do that and still be funny, Anyway, an answer to her question, a lot of my mother, actually, who was not a nurse, went into Margaret's personality. My mother was a very strong character, very disciplined. I thought Margaret had to have that because she was way too young in that arena to be in charge of 25 nurses. She was holding down an incredibly responsible job. They were promoted quickly in the field. She was way too young to be a major. So she had to pull it together and toughen up, even if it was a veneer. And, of course, that's what made for the comedy, because the doctors, who always ribbed her and gave her a rough time, saw through that veneer. They didn't believe it. And so they could tease her and fund her. But the nurses bought it. She was tough. She was tough with the nurses because she cared about them so deeply. And I was so happy to be able to contribute to some of the writing in the final episode, where I look at all of them and say, you have no idea what a wonderful credit it was to my life to be working with all of you. How honored I was to have you with me, and yet they also were able to write an episode where I confront them and tell them how lonely I was to be in charge. That it was the greatest testament to how lonely it is at the top, as the expression goes.
Very much so.
And so she could not afford, in a way, to be their friend, because their lives depended on her.
And
she had to take care of them and be strong.
And Sue also, Sue happens to mention that episode in her email as one of her favorites. And she writes, please tell Loretta that episode with the nurses had a very important impact on my career, especially later on, as I grew to recognize the importance of meeting my staff on even ground
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I owe the writers a great deal to give me the material to allow me to express that about her character. That she was in a tough situation, doing a tough job. She couldn't be, quote, their friend. She had to be their commander-in-chief, you know. And then she has this moment where she actually breaks down and reveals that to them. And it's become a very famous quote. You never asked me in for a cup of coffee, a lousy cup of coffee. And one of the nurses says, we didn't think you'd accept. And she says, well, you were wrong. And she's really near tears. She's gagging back her tears. And we see the real person under the oak leaves, you know.
You're listening to a conversation with Loretta Swit, the actress known around the world as Major Margaret Houlihan on MASH, that originally aired in January 2017 here on TV Confidential. Loretta Swit passed away Friday, May 30th at the age of 87. We'll take a quick time out. We'll play more of our conversation with Loretta from January 2017 when we come back on TV Confidential.
Who needs a vacation? Are you ready for an unforgettable getaway? Start packing your bags because Branson, Missouri, the vacation and entertainment capital of the U.S., is calling your name. For just $99 per person, here's what you get. A full 3-day, 2-night stay in a luxury resort hotel. A delicious full breakfast buffet every morning you're here. And when you call right now, free show tickets worth up to $100. That's right, free show tickets to an award-winning show on us. You don't have to leave the country for an amazing vacation. You can drive or fly to Branson and have an incredible time. Whether you bring in the whole family or just planning a romantic escape, this trip is built for you. We guarantee you'll love Branson. This is not a timeshare. It's just an unbeatable vacation deal for only $99 per person. You book now, you can use your tickets anytime this year. You don't even need to know your travel dates to lock in the special price. Hurry, because this offer won't last long. Call our Branson vacation experts today.
800-435-1887. 800-435-1887. 800-435-1887. That's 800-435-1887.